The world of Fallout is not unlike our own, so it's not surprising that many organizations and groups in the game are inspired by our real life history and culture. Let's go over a few of them today. I should mention that not all these comparisons are confirmed by the developers, but you'll see that some are too close to be a mere coincidence. Let's get into it. These are the real life inspirations for Fallout factions: Brotherhood of Steel and the Knights Templar. Let's start with some of the big ones. The Brotherhood of Steel is one of the most iconic factions in the Fallout series. They've appeared in nearly every mainline game from the original Fallout in 1997 to Fallout 4 in 2015. They have also appeared in both Fallout spin-off games, Fallout New Vegas in 2010 and Fallout 76 in 2018. Safe to say that they're one of the largest and most important factions for the Fallout franchise. Founded by remnants of the US military in the aftermath of the Great War, the Brotherhood of Steel is a techno-religious order dedicated to preserving and controlling advanced technology. Their mission is to prevent humanity from misusing technology again, as they believe it's led to the world's destruction. Their dedication to these beliefs have led to some associating the Brotherhood of Steel with being a religious group. The Brotherhood is known for their power armor suits, military might, and their isolationist and sometimes authoritarian approach to outsiders. While their intentions are usually good-natured, their methods and practices often lead to conflict with other factions and communities. As for their real-life inspiration, the Brotherhood of Steel somewhat resembles the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar, a historical military order, was established in the early 12th century during the Crusades. They were a Christian order of warrior monks who took on the dual role of protecting Christian pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land and defending territories that were captured during the Crusades. Much like the Brotherhood of Steel, the Knights Templar combined religious zeal with military prowess. The two factions have a shared emphasis on preserving and controlling what they view as important, technology being the Brotherhoods, and the Christian faith being the Knights Templar. Both have strong hierarchical structures, a secretive nature, and some divine sense or duty to protect humanity, even if it involves violence. I think the Brotherhood of Steel took some inspirations from the Knights Templar. Caesar's Legion and Ancient Rome. One real-life comparison that is quite obvious is Caesar's Legion. Caesar's Legion are the main antagonists of Fallout New Vegas. They're a ruthless, autocratic society founded by the charismatic Caesar. Caesar built the Legion on a strict hierarchical system modeled after the ancient Roman Empire. Caesar united various tribes through force, indoctrinating them into his vision of a new order. The Legion is known for its brutal methods, including slavery, crucifixions, and a rigid code of honor that enforces absolute loyalty to Caesar. Their ultimate goal is to conquer and assimilate the Mojave Wasteland, imposing their harsh militaristic rule over the land. The Legion emphasizes order, discipline, and removing individualism. The Legion, obviously, draws heavy inspiration from the Roman Empire, notably the military aspects. Caesar literally modeled his faction after the Romans, hoping to use Julius Caesar's methods as a way to unify the wasteland. Like the Romans, the Legion places a strong emphasis on order, discipline, and loyalty to their leader, who is seen as both a political and spiritual figure. The Legion mirrors the Roman Empire's societal structures as well. The Legion, like Rome, is a patriarchal society with a clear hierarchy, where power is concentrated at the top and authority is absolute. Both the Legion and Rome use slavery as a means of controlling and exploiting conquered people, viewing them as tools to be used in service of the state. Caesar's Legion is quite clearly inspired by Julius Caesar's ancient Roman Empire. The Minutemen and the Minutemen. Another one that is quite clear is Fallout 4's Minutemen. They are a militia group dedicated to protecting the Commonwealth. The Minutemen take their name from a group of the same who played a crucial role during the American Revolutionary War. The Commonwealth Minutemen see themselves as the defenders of the people and the upholders of freedom. Their mission is to provide aid and security to settlements at a moment's notice, responding to a range of threats. From raiders to supermutants, the Minutemen would be there to protect smaller communities. Despite this, by the start of Fallout 4, the faction is but a shell of their former selves, having almost been entirely wiped out. On the other hand, the Minutemen from real life were a New England colonial militia company during the American Revolutionary War. They were named for their ability to be ready for battle at a minute's notice, symbolizing their readiness and commitment to the cause of American independence. The Minutemen were ordinary citizens, farmers, tradesmen, and craftsmen who took up arms to defend their communities against British forces. They played a crucial role in the early battles of the Revolutionary War, including the famous confrontations at Lexington and Concord in 1775. The Minutemen were known for their patriotism and bravery, always ready to fight for their rights and freedoms. Like the Legion, this is another one of those quite obvious comparisons. The Minutemen are inspired by the Minutemen. The Railroad and Abolitionists, and the Underground Railroad. The Railroad is a secretive faction in Fallout, making appearances in both Fallout 3 and 4. The group is dedicated to the liberation and protection of synths created by the Institute. These synths are often treated like property, while the Railroad views them as sentient beings deserving of human rights and freedoms. Operating in the shadows, the Railroad uses covert operations, safe houses, and a network of sympathizers to help synths escape the Institute and find new lives, often erasing their memories to protect them from being recaptured. The faction is driven by a strong moral conviction that all beings, regardless of their origin, deserve freedom and self-determination. Similarly, the abolitionists are a minor faction in Fallout 3 who share similar values. This group, consisting of former slaves and sympathizers, seek to liberate slaves from the brutal clutches of the slavers in the capital wasteland. Much like the Railroad, the abolitionists are driven by a moral imperative to free those who are oppressed and ensure their safety. They are based in the Temple of the Union, a hidden refuge for escaped slaves, and their ultimate goal is to rebuild the Lincoln Memorial as a symbol of freedom and hope. The abolitionists, though smaller in scale compared to the Railroad, embody the same spirit of resistance against oppression and the fight for universal rights. The Underground Railroad was a real-life network of secret routes and safe houses established in the United States during the 19th century. It was used by enslaved African Americans to escape to free states and Canada, often with the assistance of abolitionists who risked their lives to help them. The Underground Railroad was neither underground nor a railroad in the literal sense, but rather a series of coordinated efforts by individuals who believed in the cause of freedom and human dignity. The network relied on secrecy, code words, and trusted guides, known as conductors, to lead slaves to safety. People like Harriet Tubman became heroes for their role in guiding hundreds of enslaved people to freedom. Based on these similar names, actions, and motives, it becomes quite clear that both the Railroad and abolitionists were factions that were inspired by the Underground Railroad movement. The Great Khans and the Mongols. I promise not every one of the factions we go over today will be super obvious, but the Great Khans are another obvious one. Born from other failed factions, the Great Khans are a raider faction inspired by the Mongol Empire. Known for their warrior culture, the Great Khans mimic the nomadic, fierce spirit of Genghis Khan's Mongols. They operate in the Mojave Wasteland and try to be fiercely independent, valuing strength and honor. Despite their reputation for brutality, they follow their version of a code of ethics. In doing so, they tend to grapple with their identity as the world changes around them. The Mongols, led by Genghis Khan in the 13th century, built the largest adjoining empire in history, stretching from Europe to Asia. Known for their horseback riding and archery skills, the Mongols combined military might with effective leadership. While they were feared for their conquests, it was Khan's fluid and adaptable leadership skills that allowed the empire to grow to such a state. Genghis Khan employed strict discipline while also maintaining a meritocracy to ensure both loyalty and efficiency. While New Vegas' great Khans lack effective leadership by the start of the game, there are some parallels that go beyond just the name. Both are a nomadic group who value strength and honor, and the Great Khan's raiding lifestyle mimics the Mongols' historical practices. The Great Khans are inspired by Genghis Khan's Mongol Empire. The followers of the apocalypse and the Red Cross or other NGOs. Here's one that's not crazy obvious or spelled out by the game. The followers of the apocalypse are a faction known for their humanitarian principles. The followers are dedicated to aiding those in need and improving the wasteland through medical and educational services. They operate out of various outposts and clinics, providing medical care, knowledge, and support to survivors in the harsh post-apocalyptic wasteland. Despite the challenges of the environment they work in, the followers work towards making a better future, often in collaboration with other factions and settlements. The Red Cross and similar non-governmental organizations, or NGOs in real life, share a similar humanitarian mission. Founded in 1863, the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement is dedicated to providing emergency assistance, disaster relief, and education in communities affected by crises. With a focus on neutrality and impartiality, the Red Cross delivers aid regardless of political or military considerations. Other NGOs, like Doctors Without Borders, for example, also work under the principles of neutrality and aid, delivering medical care and support in conflict and disaster-ridden areas. Both the followers of the apocalypse and real-life NGOs offer support, relief, providing essential services to those in need, often in challenging conditions. The followers likely take inspiration from organizations like the Red Cross. The Mojave Express and the USPS or other mail carriers. Here's another odd one. The Mojave Express is a key faction in the early parts of the New Vegas storyline. They are your former employer, after all. It's through this mail courier service that the events of the game are set in motion. As a courier working for the Mojave Express, the player is tasked with delivering a mysterious platinum chip, which becomes the catalyst for the main questline. The Mojave Express is a post-apocalyptic postal service that does their best to reliably deliver packages across the dangerous Mojave. Now, while they may not have to trek across the dangerous desert wasteland, real-life mail delivery services like USPS, FedEx, and UPS do their best to reliably deliver goods and packages across the world. Larger area to cover, more logistics involved, but significantly less risk of death, I'd wager. If our own world had mail services since 550 BCE, why should we all of a sudden stop when the nuclear bombs drop? The Mojave Express is inspired by our real-world mail delivery systems. The Bright Brotherhood and Heaven's Gate. This next one is an interesting one for sure. The Bright Brotherhood is a unique ghoulish cult led by the charismatic Jason Bright. They believe in a higher purpose and are dedicated to conducting a great religious pilgrimage called the Great Journey that will take them to some place called the Far Beyond. They are headquartered out of the RepCon test site, where they prepare for this journey by attempting to refurbish old rocket ships. Their belief in this mission is unwavering. Despite the risks, challenges, and skepticism from outsiders, they're determined to find a better life beyond the harsh reality of their world. On the other hand, Heaven's Gate was a real-life religious cult founded in the 1970s by Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles. The group combined aspects of Christianity with beliefs in extraterrestrial life and space travel, teaching their followers that they could ascend to a higher level of existence by leaving behind their earthly bodies. Heaven's Gate became infamous in 1997 when 39 members committed mass suicide, believing that by doing so, they would join a spaceship following the Halley-Bopp comet and achieve their next level of existence. The group's leaders convinced their followers that this act was necessary for their spiritual salvation and that they would be reborn in a higher, more enlightened state. The Bright Brotherhood and Heaven's Gate share some similarities. They were both driven by a profound belief in a transcendent journey that will take them to a place that's better than their current existence. Both were led by charismatic leaders who inspire unwavering faith in their followers. However, while Fallout plays the Bright Brotherhood as a humorous, ghoulish cult, Heaven's Gate remains as a shocking and tragic reminder of the consequences of extreme belief and manipulation. Still, the parallels between the two lead me to believe that the Bright Brotherhood likely took some inspiration from the Heaven's Gate cult. Hybology and Scientology. The Hybologists are a faction that make an appearance in Fallout 2 and Fallout 4's Nuka World DLC. They're a religious group characterized by their belief in cosmic energies and a path to enlightenment through the teachings of their founder, Dick the Hub Hubble. The Hybologists see themselves as a spiritual movement aiming to ascend to a higher state of existence by purging negative energies through alignments, a process that involves using strange machinery to clear their minds. They believe that the ultimate goal is to leave Earth on a spaceship and achieve transcendence among the stars. The Hybologists are often portrayed as a cult-like group whose members are devoted to their beliefs despite skepticism from outsiders. On the other hand, the Church of Scientology, founded in the 1950s by science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard, shares notable similarities with the Hybologists. Scientology is based on the concept that humans are spiritual beings, referred to as thetans, trapped by past traumas and negative experiences, which can be cleared through a process called auditing, using a device called an e-meter. This process is intended to help individuals achieve spiritual enlightenment and free themselves from psychological burdens. Like the Hybologists, Scientologists believe in attaining higher levels of understanding and existence, often through abstract teachings and structured practices. The church has attracted both devoted followers and significant criticism due to its secretive nature and controversial practices. Aside from similar names, Dick Hubble and L. Ron Hubbard, the Hybologists and Scientologists share other similarities. Both organizations revolve around the idea of spiritual advancement, offering paths to enlightenment. Each group operates with an air of mystery and has a hierarchical structure, with leaders and advanced members holding exclusive knowledge. Additionally, both the Hybologists and Scientologists face skepticism and accusations of being cult-like, with outsiders questioning the legitimacy of their beliefs and practices. And even while Chris Avallone mentions that any similarities between Hybology and real-world persons and organizations are merely coincidental, I'll let you be the judge. The Pioneer Scouts and the Boy Scouts. We'll close this video out with an easy one. The Pioneer Scouts are a faction in Fallout 76, modeled after the real-life Boy Scouts of America. The Pioneer Scouts were a pre-war organization designed to teach children survival skills, leadership, and a sense of duty through outdoor activities and community services. Even in the post-apocalyptic world, remnants of the Pioneer Scouts endure, like their robotic scout leaders, with players able to join the organization and earn badges by completing tasks that test their knowledge of wilderness survival, first aid, and the likes. The Pioneer Scouts focus on virtues like teamwork, discovery, and preparedness, focusing on a future of boundless possibility. On the other hand, the Boy Scouts of America, founded in 1910, is one of the largest and most well-known youth organizations in the United States. The BSA aims to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetime by instilling in them the values of the Scout Oath and Law. Through various programs, Scouts learn skills such as camping, first aid, and citizenship, earning merit badges that signify their achievements. The organization promotes leadership, community service, and a respect for nature, guiding young people to develop into responsible, capable adults. This is another one of those, they're the same group, just with a different name. The likeness is intentional. Both groups are rooted in the idea of preparing young people for tackling the challenges of life by teaching them practical skills, leadership, and a strong moral code. Though I doubt when the Pioneer Scouts were formed, they didn't think a vault dweller would just farm badges in order to get a cool backpack. Those people would be wrong. And that wraps up some of the real-life inspirations for various Fallout factions. From iconic groups like the Brotherhood of Steel taking cues from the Knights Templar, to the Hybologists' clear nods to Scientology. The world of Fallout is an amalgamation of our own, spun with bits of hyperbole, comedy, and dystopia. That's all from me today, folks. If you liked the video, be sure to share and subscribe. Let me know if you have any more real-life Fallout faction equivalents. Join the Discord. Have a good rest of your day. Cheers.
Here, I salvaged this book from an old library. It's a history of people called the Mongols. I think that's what the Khans built their culture on.